Hello and welcome to the show. Before we begin, warning, this is another out and about episode, so expect some interruptions, cows in the background, cars driving by, people walking past, and I may have to stop to say hello to one or two people. So now that we're done with the warning, on to the topic for today. So today on the show, not setting time expectations with your clients is causing you more business troubles than you know. Now, when I say time expectations, what do I mean? I mean setting expectations around delivery. Whatever business it is that you're involved in, whether you are an architect, a photographer, a cake baker, or a carpenter, we all have to do some form of delivery. You have to deliver the wardrobe. You have to write your legal opinion if you're a lawyer. You have to deliver the wedding album if you are a photographer. You have to deliver the cake if you're a baker. So we all have expectations around delivery. And those expectations are: when are people going to receive things? How will they receive them? From whom are they supposed to receive them? What should happen before or after items are delivered? Those sorts of things. So back to the carpenter example. The woman has paid you 35,000 for a wardrobe. When is the wardrobe going to be done? Who is going to deliver it? When the person comes to deliver it, will there be somebody to open the door? Who is going to be responsible for moving the wardrobe into the house? Is it the woman's? Is the woman going to do it herself, or does she have to get her domestic help to do it? Is the carpenter responsible for getting someone who is going to carry the things into the house? All those sorts of things. So when I say time expectations, those are the sorts of things that I'm talking about. Not just the time for when things are going to be done, but everything around it. When is it going to be done? Who will receive it? Who is supposed to receive them? What should happen before? What should happen after? So not sorting out all of these things ahead of time is causing your business a whole lot of trouble than you know. Now, this is the scenario that I want us to look at today. In yesterday's episode, we looked at a law firm called Square Circle Law Firm. Now, that is not their real name, and that's because I don't have the permission to start sharing some of this stuff in detail on the podcast yet. In the episode yesterday, we talked about how the law firm assumed that the unique selling proposition, the main reason why people do business with them, is because of their top-notch IP protection services. IP protection is intellectual property protection. And intellectual property is the branch of the law that is concerned with making sure people do not steal your identity. And because they don't steal your identity, they don't steal your customers, or people don't take your business ideas and then make money off of it. So the law is careful to make sure that if you put in hard work to build a reputation, that you are the one who enjoys the reputation, or if you develop a technology or a business model that is unique to you, that you are the one who's going to enjoy the benefits. And so that is what IP protection is all about. So this law firm had me come in to do a customer service audit by them. I executed the customer service audit, and that involved having conversation with their customers. And from those conversations, we found out that their key skill actually is getting access to institutional funding. That's from private equity, banks, investors, those sorts of things. So that is actually what their clients find most valuable dealing with those people, not their IP protection services. Yes, the IP protection is good, but what they really appreciate was how they helped us negotiate this. They helped us do that. They provided advisory services on this funding. They managed this for us. They did that for us. Those were the things that they found much more interesting. So if you listen to yesterday's episode, you're going to get the whole idea about how sometimes what you think is the key service you're delivering to your clients actually is not the key service. So you should be having conversations with your clients to find out what it is that you're good at. And when you know what those things are, that is what you start promoting in your advertising, in your marketing, in your branding, because that is your USP, your unique selling point, your unique selling proposition, whatever it is that you want to call it. That's the reason why people should be doing business with you. So it was during that process that I came up with one small problem that a customer mentioned, and from that customer's conversation, that client's conversation, I was able to see how it's a thread that has been running through a couple of things. So everybody raves about how Square Circle Law Firm, they're the best. This is how they've helped us get access to funding. This is how they've helped us set up and improve the business. But one client complained. He said they do a wonderful job. but they take too long to get back to me when I send them documents. And yes, there were other people who mentioned that. But with this client in particular, I decided to probe. I tried to ask more questions so I can get a scope of the problem. After all, Square Circle Law Firm, they're my clients. So if I'm going to be able to get any juice out of the situation that they can use to improve the relationship with their clients and therefore improve their businesses, because if your clients are happy, they're coming back for more business, they're sending people your way. So, if there's any juice I can help to get them out of any intel I can help them get out of the situation so they can improve their business, I will. So, I asked some questions. So, I asked, you said they take too long. When you say too long, what do you mean? Are they taking 1 or 2 weeks? And the customer's answer was, no, they don't take up to 1 week. The longest that they have done is 3 days. So, normally it's 2 or 3 days. Now, side note, actually, 2 or 3 days is not bad for a law firm in Nigeria. I know that because my first academic and professional experience was with the law, and in this part of the world, in Nigeria, firms routinely require 1 week or maybe 2 weeks to redline documents. The process of redlining is to take the contract, to take the whatever, to go through it, and then, well, it's called redlining because traditionally in the old days you would use a red biro and draw a line under those parts of the contract that you don't agree with or the parts of the document that might raise troublesome legal issues. So, law firms usually take 1 week, maybe two, to redline documents. After they redline it, they usually like to write a memo and send back to you because law firms in Nigeria, I'm going to assume law firms world over, don't just give verbal recommendations. This is good, go and do this, go and do that. They write it down because lawyers want to be precise and they want the advice that they give you to be very clear. So they'll look at it, they'll redline it, and then they'll come up with a memo saying that the document overall is fine, but items number 4, 5, and 6 cause particular problems because if you agree to item 6, this is how it's going to affect your business, and this is how it's going to affect your legal liability regarding 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Those sorts of things. And then they send it back to you. So that's why in Nigeria, typically, it would take about a week because they would take the memo, they would redline it, then you'd write an opinion, and then send it back. So the fact that this firm, Square Circle Law Firm, is doing this in 2 or 3 days is actually quite admirable. Because by Nigerian standards, that is short notice. If they're getting back to you in 2 3 days, actually, it's a good thing. But I didn't explain that to the client. I'm just making a side note here in the context so that you and I, listeners to the podcast, can appreciate or can start making a judgment about whether this is actually a problem or not, or how bad the problem is. So, 2 or 3 days actually is quite good, but for this customer, it was too long. And then I asked him what his expectations were, and then he said he expected that he would get things back within 24 hours, maybe even the same day. Side note, this is a reasonable expectation to have because your client does not know what it is that goes into your business. So as far as he's concerned, you're a professional, and that's the reason why he hired you and he's paying you good money. So he expects that things should be able to come back really quick. It's a reasonable expectation. Clients don't know what goes into baking a cake. So if they tell you that they want a five-tier cake with strawberry, with vanilla, and they want it to be gravity defying, that the cake has to be hung upside down. As far as they're concerned, you're the professional. That's why they're paying you 300,000 naira for the cake. And, if they think it should be ready in 2 days, we can't blame them because they don't know what goes into it. You are the baker. You know that you're going to have to get these ingredients. You're going to have to bake this level first. This level is going to have to set. You're going to have to refrigerate something, design something, hang something. So you know that it's going to take 1 week to get the cake ready, but your clients don't know that. So in that sense, the expectations are reasonable. So let's look at it from this guy's point of view. It's just a document, for God's sakes. It's a 5-page document. How long can it take to read a 5-page document and to give me an opinion? So, in that sense, his own expectations are reasonable. So, his expectations, 24 hours. And then I asked some more questions because I'm looking for solutions. So I asked him, what if Square Circle Law Firm could tell you in advance how long it would take? Would that help? And the client's response was not surprising. He was very happy. He was like, yes, that would help greatly because I'm dealing with these people. I'm not going to mention the industry that we are talking about. I'm dealing with these people, and you know how these people are. He gave me a document on Monday, you know. Tuesday, they haven't heard from me. Wednesday, I'm begging them. You know how it is now. They will now be thinking that this and this and that and that. But if the lawyers were able to tell me that, oh, we have received the document Monday, and they said, look, give us till Thursday and we'll get back to you, that will make it will help me greatly. Because I can now call these boys back and tell them that, okay, my lawyers are looking at it. They say Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., it will be with you. And then those other people, they'll be calm. They won't be harassing me. So that was the situation where the guy found himself with. And so for him, it would help greatly. So, um, it's even something that I put to him that, if the lawyer were to say, oh, please, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, bottom line is he said it was going to help him greatly. He would now be able to tell them that, yes, please give me 3 days. My lawyers are looking over it. That's how long they will need, blah, blah, blah. So, another question from me was, oh, so haven't they been doing that? And he responded, no. They just say, we have received the document and we will get back to you. Now, Nigerians listening to the podcast, we know that that's just how we do business in this part of the world. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've received it. I've seen the email. I will get back to you. Okay, so diagnosis. What's the problem? Round Square Law Firm has really good timing by Nigerian standards. I've mentioned that. I wouldn't be surprised if they have good timing by American standards as well, because I don't know if it's typical for American law firms or UK law firms to get back to you within 2 days. So, Round Square Law Firm, they don't think it's a problem on their end, but the problem is the client has other expectations. Now the thing is, neither side is communicating those expectations around timing. The client is not saying, this is what I expect. And the business professional, the law firm, is also not saying, this is what I expect, this is what we can deliver. This is causing a perception of bad customer service. So who should take the responsibility of creating and setting expectations? In my opinion, and from a sales perspective, it should be the business owner, in this case the law firm, and not the customer who should be communicating these expectations. That is because we are the professionals and we are the ones who suffer when we lose business because of poor customer service, poor customer experience, or poor after sales service. Because we are the ones that bear the brunt, that is why we should take the responsibility of fixing the situation. The customer can always pick up his business, pick up his money, and move on to another lawyer. But for us, the cost of replacing a client or a customer when they leave is much steeper than that, because we have to spend more money in advertising or attending network conferences. Okay, lawyers can advertise, but basically it costs money to look for new clients because we're going to have to spend time and money to try and acquire new customers. For businesses that advertise, there's going to be advertising costs, there's going to be travel costs, meeting costs, phone call costs. So it's a lot easier to keep the customers that you have in the loop rather than keep losing them. So we, the business owners, we, the sales professionals, we are the ones who have to take responsibility for setting these expectations. So the solution is just to be upfront around timing expectations and be sure that it is not a problem. The easiest way to do that is what I've been advocating on the podcast right from day one, which is that we should be having a simple conversational process when it comes to sales, selling, marketing, those sorts of things. So it should always be a conversation and it should always be a questioning framework because that will get people talking. So you say something like, we'll get back to you in 3 days maximum. Is that going to be a problem? You ask that question and you keep quiet and you wait. And the person is going to talk and you're going to learn a couple of things. The person might say, 3 days, but this is our business now. These people will now be thinking blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to be able to come up with a solution to say, okay, you know what? Actually, it will take us 1 day to read it and come up with the opinion, and then maybe 2 days to write out a tidy draft or to rework it. How about I have a look at the thing and I tell you in principle whether we are good to go or not, or I tell you, okay, no, let me put it this way. I'll tell you if we're good to go and what the troublesome issues might be, so that at least in principle they will know how far. And then the person will say, okay, yeah, that might sound good. And it will make it will be good help to the client if you can call him up the next day to say, I've read the document. Overall, the document is good. But the problem is conditions 4 and 5. So tell those people that yes, we are going ahead, but only if we can rework 4 or 5. The lawyers will need 2 more days to give us a concrete suggestion about how we rework it. And the person might be happy with that. You see, problem solved. So, simple questions, conversational questions. So, another thing, you could say something like, oh, things this complex usually take 5 days to sort out. Are you okay with that? And then you keep quiet. You let the customer talk. You will learn some more and you know how to solve the problem. You can also say, thanks, we have received the document. How soon do you expect it to be done by? And you keep quiet and then you let the customer talk. And then you know how to do with it. Because the customer may say, oh, okay, so long as you're done by Friday, it's not a problem. And in this case, let's say it's Monday, they have given you the document. You know that, okay, there's no problem, because after all, it usually takes you about 2 to 3 days to finish it. You could also take another route. You could also say, if you like it done before 31st of March, then you have to pay XYZ amount for express service. Should we go ahead with that? The reason why I'm mentioning this is because there are some businesses who have different tier structures. So, okay, like when you go to the hospital, for instance, you pay for the lab. So the labs, they have these sorts of things. Normally, it's going to take 1 hour for test results to be ready. But if you want your test results sooner, if you want it in 3 minutes, you pay an express fee. With the express fee, we'll use these kind of chemical reagents instead of the other kind of chemical reagents, and then you get your result sharp, sharp, sharp. And let's see what else. Okay, like X-ray test as well. Some hospitals do that sort of thing. Like, okay, we've done the X-ray now, but the consultant is going to come in on Wednesday, so you're going to get your result by Thursday. But if you want your result tomorrow, we can pay for a consultant to come in outside of consulting hours to review this thing and get back to you. That's going to cost you 10,000 naira extra. Should we go ahead with that? So there are some businesses where this is appropriate, like I've pointed out, in the medical space, in the laboratory space, in the diagnostics space. So it's something that you could mention. You tell the client, if you'd like this done before March 31st, this is how much you have to pay for express service. Should we go ahead with that? You say that, and you keep quiet. You let the person talk. When the person talks, you're going to figure out some more information. You'll be able to come up with some more ideas. So, for those of you who are in different businesses, much more down-to-earth businesses, cake bakers, wedding photographer, what else, carpenter, mechanic, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the verbiage will be different, but, the principle is the same. You tell the person, okay, Oga, Madam, this option that you have selected for the cake, for the wedding album, for the floor pan, for your car to be repaired, blah, blah, blah. It usually takes 3 weeks if we're going to do this to a top-class finish. Are you okay with that? And then you hear what the person has to say. Nigerian mechanics already do this. They say, Oga, this thing that you selected, we can't buy it in Abuja. We can only get it from Lagos. If we're going to send somebody to Lagos to buy this motor part, it is going to take 2 weeks. Let the person go, come back, and then we test it before we're even sure. That is not to even talk of us now trying to fix it. So, in other words, okay, if it must be this kind of engine, you have to give us, your car will sleep here for 1 month. Is that okay? And then they hear what the person has to say. Then the person can now say, no, I don't want the genuine engine from Lagos. Let's use Tokumbo engines that we can find here in Abuja or that we can buy in Nasarawa. So, anyway, but bottom line, you guys get the picture. Simple conversations, simple questions. Okay, so, we're almost close to the 20-minute mark, so let me just quickly round it up. So when you call out issues that regarding expectations for timing and delivery, it improves the customer experience, even though nothing fundamentally has changed. Because you can see in this example with Square Circle law firm, nothing has changed. They are still going to take the average of 2 to 3 days to get back to clients, so nothing has changed. But now that the expectations are clearer, the customer is happier because now he has clear expectations that he can communicate to his business partners, to people on the other end. And so he's happier. Nothing has changed. Expectations are now visible. Customer service is a lot improved. And because of that, the possibility of doing business in the future with this guy for a long time also are improved. So a lot of customer service issues are caused by misaligned expectations between business owner and the customer. So if you suspect that there's something wrong in your business because you're constantly delivering your best, you always do your best, you're baking that wedding cake and you're spending overnight, you put on the generator, you light candles or lamp, whatever, because you want that cake delivered by all means. But then your customers seem unappreciative and they're always complaining. There might be some underlying issues with your sales process which is causing the friction. So if these are the sorts of things that you're facing, then connect with me on LinkedIn and let's see how we can get our money right. Let's see how we can give you peace of mind and give you happier customers. We keep referring more business to you. So that's all for today, folks. Remember, you can subscribe for free. The name of the show is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Podcast. And I'm on all, okay, well, not all. I'm on most podcast players that you use to listen to this show. I'm available on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Pocket Cast, Anchor, Overcast, any podcast player of your choice. Also, remember to connect with me on LinkedIn. The name is Tabishima Ayede. You need help with the spelling of the name? Just check the podcast header or the bio after you're done listening to this episode. So that's all for today. I'll see you at the next episode.